Let Russ cook. Sounds great, and it sounded great in the beginning of the season. Looked great. Now you're realizing, oh, we're going to need all phases, all things to complement each other for the Seahawks to have their best chance going forward. This is how you play optimal football. You go out there the old Seahawks way. This is not a Legion of Boom, but this is still a defense that has allowed only 17 points or fewer in their last 4 performances. So you look at now that complementary balanced attack, I think they have a lower ceiling than some other teams in their conference, but this is still the best approach for them. When you talk about getting Carlos Dunlap in the trade, 5 sacks in his last 6 games since arriving via the trade, and how they always play in these one-score games. I'm sure Acho is going to talk about it. That's one of his talking points, how the Seahawks usually figure out how to win those close one-score games. Now you got a defense to complement that and healthy running backs now. Carlos Hyde coming back recently. You can see it just starting to recalculate and starting to work for this team. Is it going to be enough? I won't go that far, but certainly this is the best approach for the Seahawks to go out there and try and make some noise.
I got a question, Big Dog Marcellus Wiley. You want me to applaud the Seahawks for beating Dwayne Haskins? You want me to applaud the Seahawks for beating the New York Jets? You want me to applaud the Seahawks for beating my dog, but backup quarterback for the Giants, Colt McCoy? You want me to applaud the Seahawks for beating Carson Wentz and the Philadelphia Eagles? Because that's the last 4 games they've played.
That's all you could do.
That's when they've held opponents to 15, 3, 12, and 17. So is that what you want me to applaud the Seahawks for doing?
I mean, who else we going to play, Coach? I'm sorry. Acho's team wasn't available.
I'm not going to knock them for winning those games. That would be utterly ridiculous.
I'm with you.
But I'm also not going to applaud them for beating Dwayne Haskins, the Jets, losing to Colt McCoy, actually. They didn't even beat Colt. You played Colt and you lost, but you held them to 17 points.
Yep.
And losing to Carson Wentz. Like, I'm beating Carson Wentz. I'm just not going to applaud them for doing that. I'm not believing in this Seahawks turnaround. Again, we talk about this all the time. We talk about education on this show. If you watch this show, you're probably a smart individual because you're talking to smart individuals.
Hey.
So, if I go out there, bro, and I get a 65 on my photosynthesis test, science class in my freshman year in high school, if you got 100 on a photosynthesis test, you got an A in the class. Stephanie Barter, great teacher. If I go out there and get a 65 on my photosynthesis test, but all of a sudden I get a 95 on my intro to science test, I'm not going to sit here and expect you to sing my praises. Don't believe in my turnaround. I didn't turn around. It's just an easier test. Like, that's what it is. The Seahawks, I'm not going to say that they turned around. So they beat Dwayne Haskins, the same Dwayne Haskins who we going to get into it, but I'm not sure how focused he was.
Don't do that.
They beat the New York Jets, the same New York Jets who we've questioned if they were throwing games this season. They lost to the Giants at home playing a backup quarterback who hadn't won a game since 2014. And then they beat the lowly Carson Wentz at the lowest point of the lowest season in his career. So I'm sorry. I'm not going to knock the Seahawks for winning. That would be dumb. That would be ludicrous.
Lowly Carson
Wentz. I'm
Wentz.
not going to believe in a Seahawks turnaround for acing easy tests.
Wow.
Well, I believe in the turnaround, and it's not just about the test that you take. It's literally about how you take the test, meaning how do you prepare? How do you study? And so what I've seen with the Seattle Seahawks is they're taking the test differently. They're approaching each test differently. They're not so much concerned with what the test consists of. They're concerned with how they approach the test. And that's what's been most impressive when you talk about not allowing Russ to cook. And this is what makes teams scary. When we saw him cook at the beginning of the season, we're like, oh, my goodness, this guy is putting the team on his back. He's cooking out of control. And then it started to falter. Coaching, they identify it. They switch it up. Oh, we got to take that. We got to think about how we're going to take this test now, how we're going to approach these games now, because what we used to do, how we used to approach it, it's not working for us any longer. Now you add defense into the equation and you're approaching the test differently. You're scary because we know what you could do when you just wing it and you allow your quarterback to just cook. You can still make things happen. You can still be scary, but now you're not even doing that, and you play close games, and you got one of the best quarterbacks when it comes to fourth quarter comebacks and winning the game on the last drive. That's a scary team. That's a
G,
team that understands.
I feel you, and I love that. That was a bar. Now, me and Marcellus looked at each other and said, yo, that was a bar. You said, it's not the test you take, it's how you take the... That was a bar. My dog came prepared for the show today. His educational level matches his looks. That was a bar. But I'm going to push back, G, because we all took the... G, did you take the SAT or the ACT?
ACT.
ACT. Sal, SAT or ACT?
SAT.
Facts. I took the SAT myself. Now, we have to be honest. There was a difference when we were taking that practice test because of the lack of pressure involved when you're sitting in that room taking a practice test and when you were sitting there realizing like, yo, man, if I don't get these answers right, I ain't gonna get into Columbia. Man, if I don't get these answers right, your boy might not get into... Like, there's a difference, fellas, when you're taking a test with significantly lower pressure and how you perform than when you're taking a test with a lot more pressure.
True.
All I'm saying is this. When you play the New York Jets, of course Russell Wilson can give you 4 touchdown passes. Like, there ain't no pressure. When you play in Washington, who's starting Dwayne Haskins, of course I would assume that defense can dominate. There ain't no pressure. But when you play the Rams, and you know you got a lot of pressure winning that division, don't look the same. When you play the Bills, it's a playoff team, Josh Allen looking like a top 5 quarterback, that's a little different. Just like there was a difference when y'all took the SAT and the ACT when it mattered versus when you were sitting at home taking a little practice test with your mom and dad timing you. It's a difference in these Seahawks playing Washington, the Jets, the Giants, or the Eagles. It's a different amount of pressure. I'm not a believer just yet.
Yeah, but the Jets just beat the Rams, so I don't know how sorry they are. They're not as sorry as that record. And also, they had some close contests. The Raiders. I went to the Chargers game. I'm just telling you. Well, it's still a bad school. It's still University of Texas academically, but it's all right. It's
Texas
still the Jets.
is like number 7 in public school.
I know that. You're a great school, but it's okay that I punched there and you still have to defend it, so you don't feel comfortable at how great your school is. That's the only reason I do that. You give me that response every time. I really wanted to just say, yeah, what Greg said, because Greg killed that take. Exactly what Greg is saying. The defense balling is adding to their arsenal, not taking away. You add let Russ cook. Then you add the fact that they can play ground control running game when they're healthy at the running back position. Now the defense is showing up. I don't give a damn who the opponents are because of how you take the test. Say it again, Greg. Damn it, that was a bar. The point is, Acho, beginning of the season, they won 4 or 5. The beginning of the season, they won 6 or 7. And we were sitting there singing their praises. And now they won 4 of 5. And I know we can get deeper into who they're playing in the beginning of the season and right now. But the point is they're forming their own Voltron. All these different components that can add up, aggregate to a team that's going to be very interesting to deal with going forward because they can approach you and they can attack you in so many different ways. With a quarterback that capable, with a running game, with a defense that is now playing up to standard, look out for Seattle.